Welcome to The Exchange. I'm Guy Schoen, bringing you the biggest news and interviews from all around the business world. Coming up on the show, we hear from one of the world's biggest property companies on its prediction for the $10 trillion real estate market. Plus, we go to Paris and meet the Kretz family. The stars of Netflix series The Agency show us how demand for real estate is bouncing back after a difficult year. Lockdown, work from home, staycation. These are pandemic-era words we've all had to get used to by now. They've defined the way we live, work and travel, and have changed the dynamics of the real estate sector, one of the world's biggest drivers of economic growth. Well, the global pandemic rebound is fueling recovery in many segments of real estate, but uncertainty is still a big theme as rising cases and new COVID variants threaten the return of movement restrictions. Well, despite the uneven recovery, investment in real estate reached an all-time high in the third quarter, topping $755 billion. That's up 50% year on year. And investors are keeping their portfolios diversified, with the residential sector now the most active segment ahead of offices and driving 29% of transactional activity. Well, behind these statistics and commercial figures, the property market has always been profoundly affected by the way we think and feel about design. The interior designer Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen joins us now from the English countryside to tell us more. Lawrence, thank you for joining us on The Exchange. You spent decades working at this intersection between design, architecture and culture. When it comes to the spaces where we live and work then, what's really changed in the way people decorate?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because, architecture is a very, very ponderous art form and will take decades. An architect having an idea now we're unlikely to be able to see the fruits of that idea for a good 5-6 years because of the way these things work. People feel that they are comforting ways to decorate now, and they're personal ways to decorate. They're decorating for themselves suddenly, rather than decorating for the estate agent that's going to come around and value it, or the work colleague that's going to come around for a bottle of wine. Actually, people are staying at home, and they are staying at home in these kind of very comfortable, comforting, very domestic, very suburban environments.
Thanks, Lawrence. So, COVID has made people crave comfort in their own homes then, and that trend may be here to stay. Well, Lawrence told us tastes are changing, but how is all this affecting the deals being done on the ground? Our reporter Cyril Forneris went to Paris to meet one famous family buying and selling property in one of the world's most desirable cities.
Well, Guy, during the COVID crisis, some feared for the real estate market here in Paris, which has been one of the world's most flourishing for decades. But prices are up again, and prestige property is even booming. Both Sotheby's and Barnes say that 2021 will be a record year. Positive prediction, but does it match the sentiment from buyers and sellers on the ground?
You might have met the Kretz family while watching TV during lockdowns. Their show, called The Parisian Agency, tells their real story, that of a family business specializing in luxury real estate.
So tell us, what are the trends in the Paris real estate market?
We had one of the best years in 2021. I think that after COVID made things really happen. And in 2021, for example, we did plus 50% from 2020. So it's really a big year for us.
People are looking for apartments without space, with garden, because they have suffered during the confinement. What we can notice is big apartments without this outdoors. Prices went down or stabilized. And the others, with outdoors, prices went up.
And do you think this is a global trend?
I think it's really a global trend where people during COVID really had time to think about their future project, and now is the time to make this project happen.
Right now, the investors and the rich family want to invest, and they want to invest in a safe investment. So what's better than real estate?
And there you have it, exclusive insight from one of the world's most famous real estate families. It's been a tough year for the sector. Not everything is rosy in the garden, but property prospects are looking up.
So we've heard about how the pandemic has changed consumer trends and how realtors are coping with the movement of people in big cities. But what's the sentiment like for investors looking for bright spots to cash in on? Well, Sean Coughlin is the Global Director of Capital Markets Research and Strategy at the real estate investment firm JLL in New York. Sean, what's in store for the real estate sector in 2022?
We have entered this new era of living, working, and playing. And we are still in that period of experimentation, and there is still much to be determined, which creates opportunity. Sustainability is shifting from a nice to have to the only way forward. Technology, where groups have a lot of conviction from an investor perspective, that could fit into a lot of different areas of the markets. But I think it's a theme where you're going to see groups moving on opportunities in the markets next year.
Thanks, Sean. Sustainability and technology then driving design and innovation. Now, it's time for our regular feature, Biz in 60 Seconds, Start the Clock. Consumer confidence data in the Eurozone is out for the month of December. High energy prices and the return of partial lockdowns have been dampening consumers' moods in recent weeks. Rising COVID-19 cases in parts of Europe and the uncertainty of the new Omicron variant could hold people back from spending during the holidays. Turkey releases its monthly foreign exchange reserves data. The government has had to sell up to $1 billion worth of its foreign currencies to shore up the plunging lira. The Turkish currency has lost more than 30% of its value against the dollar since September, pushing inflation to record highs and deepening the country's economic crisis. And Nike is out with its second quarter fiscal earnings. In September, the sneaker giant cut its 2022 revenue outlook to account for longer transit times and labour shortages. Nike is now expecting full-year sales to increase 5% compared to its initial forecast of double-digit growth. Made it just in time. So, investors, designers and deal makers all agree that the property market appears to be weathering the COVID storm. But the pandemic, like climate change, has only just begun to reshape the sector and our society as a whole. Grasping psychology and culture, then, is fast becoming as critical for developers as financial analysis. To win in 2022, property firms will need to adapt to a very different way of thinking about the spaces where we live and work. Well, that's all we have time for on this edition of the show. Thanks for watching. Please do check out euronews.com for all your latest business news and join us again next time on The Exchange.